Released just 8 years after it had landed on home consoles, Nintendo defied the odds by not only porting Super Mario 64 to a device a fraction of the size, but they managed to make it a far more enticing purchase. Higher fidelity visuals, brand new levels and power stars to collect, and the introduction of multiplayer to the 3D Mario series. It wasn't just a demonstration of how powerful the Nintendo DS was compared to the Game Boy Advance, but it also demonstrated what new it brought to games. One benefit of this new hardware is immediate. The DS's second screen gives players a top-down map of each world, offering helpful direction to objectives while outright solving every puzzle. It's a subtle tweak that makes the game far more portable. Now you don't need to carry around a player's guide to track down its trickiest stars. But portability isn't everything. For players coming from the original, Super Mario 64 DS presents an abrupt hurdle: the controls. The original game was a showcase for the Nintendo 64's analog stick, letting players move Mario with fluidity and precision. The DS, lacking that input, offers two imperfect alternatives. The D-pad with a run button sacrifices subtlety, while the touchscreen, though novel, lacks the tactile feedback needed for fine control. It's something you can eventually adjust to, but it's a compromise that undercuts the idea of this being a one-to-one portable version of the original. The shift in control isn't just felt in movement, but also the game's new content. The additional levels and activities often lean into more linear or compact designs, where exploration takes a backseat to simpler and more confined objectives, something that ironically feels prototypical of where 3D Mario would go next. Even so, these new areas aren't afterthoughts, and Nintendo clearly put some care into making them feel meaningful. Some blend seamlessly with the themes of the original game, like a construction yard that combines elements of Bob-on Battlefield and Wet Dry World, while others introduce fresh ideas, like a tropical island that nods to Super Mario Sunshine's Old Delfino. Their simplicity is also practical. These stages serve double duty as multiplayer arenas, where their compact design is perfect for fast-paced star-collecting action. Meanwhile, the more linear levels resemble the obstacle courses that led to Bowser's Arenas in the original game, and fittingly, they build up to brand new boss encounters. It's these elements that reveal Nintendo's strategy for this port, not to fight against the DS's limitations, but to lean into them, using them as a framework to reshape the game into something that plays to the hardware's strengths. In that sense, Super Mario 64 DS doesn't abandon the original structure, but reinterprets it. Super Mario 64 always had a modular, bite-sized structure. Each star sends a player back to the central hub, encouraging strategic choices about where and how to progress. The DS version builds on that idea by introducing 3 new playable characters: Luigi, Wario, and Yoshi. You actually begin the game as the latter, whose floaty jumps, long tongue, and enemy homing eggs make him a forgiving choice as you acquaint yourself with the game's 3D spaces. He's so beginner-friendly and capable in most situations that you might even wonder why the game isn't called Super Yoshi 64. That's because the rest of the cast bring their own unique strengths. Wario hits hard, Luigi is nimble, and Mario is an acrobat. Like picking classes in an RPG or choosing between characters in Super Mario Bros. 2, each hero is tailored to specific stars and challenges. Sometimes the game enforces a specific character to an activity, but often the choice is left to you, adding some appreciated texture to decision-making. And though character switching is handled back at Peach's castle, certain levels feature collectible caps that temporarily transform one character into another, effectively turning Mario and friends into walking power-ups that expand the flexibility of how stars can be approached. It's a great fit for the Nintendo DS, which excels in short burst sessions where you may only collect a star or two at a time. The character variety and modular structure give the game a hint of adventure game DNA, with each star feeling like a miniature quest, and where choosing the right tool, or in this case character for the job, is part of the puzzle. In embracing this structure, each character gets the chance to express the mechanics and personality of their solo appearances, making them feel less like alternate Marios and more like heroes in their own right. And by giving each Power Star more purpose, Super Mario 64 DS shifts from a free-form sandbox into a collection of carefully designed challenges, an approach that would be embraced fully in Super Mario Galaxy. So as a direct replacement for the original Super Mario 64, the DS version falters. It lacks the streamlined movement and effortless control that define that game, but as its own experience, a reimagining tailored for the DS, it shines as a broader, more character-driven adventure. Making friction strategic, it turns a hardware compromise into a creative opportunity, and excels as a result. Just like how Tetris became the defining Game Boy title over Super Mario Land, Super Mario 64 isn't the quintessential DS game, but it stands as a brilliant example of how new hardware can breathe life into a familiar classic. In many ways, the lessons learned here would carry forward to Nintendo's next console, where, much like on the DS, a bold new piece of hardware would once again prompt a radical reimagining of 3D Mario.